just seen rare footage of Greta Thunberg, the high priestess of the global warming movement. Very rare footage of Greta Thunberg actually having fun. Now, it happened last weekend in Stockholm. A teenager doing karaoke at what looked like a pretty good nightclub, singing a hit from British pop star Rick Astley. What could be more natural, more 21st century? But check this out carefully. Look, as I said, I've got nothing against this 18-year-old finally doing something that's befitting her age. And I don't mean telling world leaders how to run a sophisticated 21st century economy without going broke, but simply dancing and singing, even though it was, to a room full of people who think she's so holy that no matter how bad she is, she's still fabulous. Good luck to her. But what I do want to do is contrast what you saw her do with what she just told Sky UK about Britain being the most guilty country of all for causing what she claims is a global warming crisis.
More or less it started in the UK, since that's where the Industrial Revolution started. We started to burn coal there. So of course the UK has an enormous historical responsibility when it comes to historic emissions and so on, since the climate crisis is an accumulative crisis. Okay,
so Britain is evil because it started to burn the coal, at least in bulk, because it started the Industrial Revolution. And that's going back, of course, to the mid-18th century. Britain started the Industrial Revolution. Shame, shame, shame. So Britain has this enormous historical responsibility that Greta Thunberg is talking about. And by responsibility, she means guilt. But to rational people, what should we feel to Britain? I think it should be gratitude. Because what is that Industrial Revolution that Thunberg is talking about? Well, it involved harnessing energy, coal for steam energy initially, later coal for electricity to drive machines, amazing machines that utterly transformed how people lived. Machines for weaving cloth, machines for driving trains and later cars, machines for mining and grinding grain. The whole world of work was transformed. Even at home, women who would have spent hours up to their arms in hot water washing clothes, now you just switch on a machine. Now, we take all this for granted, of course. In fact, Greta Thunberg now seems to despise it. But there was a reason that what England created, the rest of the world grabbed with two hands. I mean, just look today. Today, you can buy a can of beans for $1, a can of soup for less than $2, a clean shirt for just $15. You can feed and clothe yourself today so cheaply. It's unprecedented. Think how amazing that is. Before the Industrial Revolution, it might have taken you all day to work just for the food and shelter you needed to survive. And even then, millions still went to bed cold and hungry. Their houses, tiny, dark, nothing much to heat them with apart from what wood they maybe could find and drag in, a bit of peat perhaps, smoke everywhere. Now, Greta Thunberg's from Sweden. Before this Industrial Revolution, if you lived in Sweden, if you were a Greta Thunberg 300 years ago, you'd expect to live to just 35 years of age, 35. Today, life expectancy in Sweden is more than double that. Just 150 years ago, there were still famines in Sweden. Today, Sweden's problem is obesity. Now, look again at Thunberg dancing and singing at that Stockholm club. Everyone dressed so nice. Cheap clothes, or at least cheaply produced. No one in rags, everyone with free time. The sort of free time that comes from having machines to do everything from clean your house to propel you to where you want to go. Everyone well fed and singing in the language of England, whose language spread around the world with the modernity and the riches it had unleashed. And look also at the lights and chrome and the glass around Greta Thunberg, the iPhones and the microphones, and think of all the electricity needed to make and to power all that stuff. In fact, all those lights and mics and the rest is powered in Sweden by a form of electricity that Thunberg opposes: nuclear power. And that's ironic, isn't it? Nuclear power is actually zero emissions. Zero emissions. That's the dream of people who want to cut our emissions to save the world from what they say is dangerous global warming. But Greta Thunberg is not just against coal, she's against nuclear power as well, and against the Industrial Revolution. And I think it all adds up to this picture. What we see in Greta Thunberg is in fact a revolt against the modern world. She represents a religious doomsday cult that rejects sinful humanity and its pleasures, that rejects the changes that made life easier for billions of people, and that's let vast numbers of them live in more comfort today than did many kings centuries ago. They dance and they sing because they do not know why they live so well. They have no idea of everything it took: the inventions, the sweat, the struggle, the coal. No, says Greta Thunberg to the Industrial Revolution, no, the English should feel guilt. But the teenagers cheering and dancing in that Stockholm nightclub, waving their iPhones, rattling on about global warming, their bellies full, they should in fact say to the English, thanks.